Hey guys, it's Morgan. Welcome back to another weekly Shlog. This is our little shop vlog here in Montrose, Colorado, where we show you all kinds of cool dirt bike stuff, from installing tanks and things like that on new bikes, to fixing old bikes, to changing tires, doing suspension, all kinds of cool dirt bike stuff. And it's a lot of fun here. So if you're new, stick with us, watch this whole video, stick with us all the way to the end, and then consider giving us a subscribe, a thumbs up, and telling your friends about us. We like to do what we call here spreading the gospel of two wheels, because we believe that dirt bikers are better people and the world needs more better people. So we need more dirt bikers in the world. I love you guys. If that sounds fun, here we go. All right, guys, it is going to be a busy week. Zach and Leander are not here yet, so it is time to push some bikes out and get after it. We had a great weekend racing with Weeby Racing in Natarita. Make sure you check out that video if you have not yet. We had a ton of fun. Also, check out the video of the first failure on my 300XC. If you haven't watched it, go back, check it out. Yeah, anyway, you're gonna have to see it. I'm not gonna give you a spoiler alert. So, yeah, let's get some bikes out of here. All right, guys, so first on the lift is this KTM 500 Excf 6 days. Not a whole lot going on with this. We're just putting a bigger tank on it because this gentleman likes to go long distances. So we got an Acerbis 3.2 gallon, I think. I don't know. I think it's 3.2, something like that, 3.2, 3.1. We're gonna install that, take the pump out of that one, put the pump in this one. Then we're gonna put some heavy duty tubes in it because he is using this really just as a dual sport. He's got a 300 actual dirt bike. So this one's mainly a dual sport. So he's leaving the dual sport tires on it for now. We're gonna put tubes in it, heavy duty tubes, so he doesn't get it flat. We'll put that all back together and then we'll get on to the next job. I will show you guys. I've shown taking the fuel pumps out of these things, so I'm not gonna bother filming that. It's pretty simple, it's pretty easy. The Acerbis tank, if I run anything weird on the Acerbis tank, I'll let you know. But quick note, the Acerbis tank on my bike did great for the race. I made it the whole 2-hour race, no problems with gas, so really happy with that. Also, I like the Acerbis tanks better because they just use the stock fasteners and things like that. I really like those a lot. So anyway, let's get this thing off, get the tank off and get on to the next job. All right, got the tank on. No big deal. Like I said, just swapped everything. And actually, it's pretty cool. Acerbis comes with all the hardware because it goes back to the plastic style screws. And so the screws like this that have the insert in the tank, these are nice because when they're working and everything is fine, I like the positive feel of the threaded, like the metal on metal threaded inserts. The problem is if those spin, it's a new tank. Now these ones that are just the core screw into the plastic, you can strip those out. Although honestly, I've never done it. I know it happens, but you can fill that in with plastic or melt stuff in there and you can kind of make it work. So yeah, it's not that big a deal. Also, cool thing about the Acerbis tank, it's got this little wing to protect the pump stuff right there. So that's nice. In case you fall down, less likely to break that off. That's pretty cool. But actually, I really want to show you is we're putting heavy duty tubes in these tires and we're putting rim locks in, guys. It's funny, these street legal bikes don't come with rim locks because I think if they're trying to balance the wheel or make the wheel a little more balanced, I think it's a little bit silly, but because, I mean, even if you mainly dual sport it, especially a 500 when you get it running right, which by the way, we're going to be doing a Takamoto kit on this very soon. This guy watched our video with the other 500 and he's like, man, I want that thing to work right. So we're going to make it run right. Someone else put on a Power Commander. I'm just not a fan. I've done Power Commanders. They work most of the time. No shade on Power Commander, the company, but I just don't like piggybacking things. I'd rather just put a whole ECU, map switch, the whole thing, and just have it be, I don't know, it just seems better to me. So we're going to pull that power commander off and redo that. We're also going to get rid of this tail section because that's dumb from KTM. Thanks, guys. I know it's DOT legal stuff, but these are my favorite rim locks. The Light Lock from Motion Pro, or Nitro Moose has a really cool one. I don't think he's even got it on the website or anywhere else, but I will show you guys one eventually, maybe later on in the Shlog. I don't know if I'm really supposed to talk about it or show you, but I'm gonna anyway because they're really cool, and Jeff needs to make them available for everything. They're rad, really cool rim locks. But these Light Lock from Motion Pro are really good too. So anyway, I'm gonna get that done, then push this off to the side till we get the Takamoto stuff. All right, guys, next on the lift is this KX65. Customer states that is leaking gas out of the carburetor. It's not doing that. The gas is on. There's gas in the tank. So I think there is. Hang on. Pretty sure there's gas in the tank. Yeah, there's gas in the tank. So nothing's leaking out, but it also does not start. So we're gonna pull the spark plug out, see if it's super fouled or something. I believe him that it was leaking. It may just have stopped. Could be clogged up or something too. So I think it's been sitting for a little bit. So let's dig in and see what we can find. All right, guys. Plug looks a little bit fouled. Let's make sure it's sparking. All right, I'm gonna take it for a spin. It's not leaking any gas, even kind of leaning over. New plug in it runs fine. My guess is that the float was just stuck. Whatever's sitting for a little bit, kind of got stuck open, leaking gas. Now it's got some fresh gas over it. It seems to be all right. So I'm gonna take it for a spin and see what's up. It ran great. It's still not leaking. I've parked it outside with the gas on to see if it leaks here in the next 30 minutes, hour, or something like that. If it doesn't, we're going to give them a call, let them know you can come pick it up. I didn't really do anything, so there'll be no charge except for a spark plug. But I've seen that before where the float needle gets stuck, and he said he was trying to bang on it. But those carburetors are so tiny, it's kind of hard to get in there and really tap on it with any kind of force without, you don't want to break it either. And so I've seen that happen plenty of times where it just is stuck, open, dripping gas, or maybe even leaking a whole bunch of gas. You turn it off, you're like, I'm gonna take it to the shop, and then that fresh gas gets on everything and lubes everything up, and it's all good. So seems all right to me. Be good, get that kid back riding. Next on the lift is going to be this Beta X trainer. We got two X trainers here from Donnie with the School of Moto. It's got a Electron on it, and she's not real happy with the way it's running. I don't think it's the Electron's fault. I forget who installed it for him, but I don't think it actually got installed or maybe tuned up quite right, and then they tried to mess with it, and she feels like they probably went the wrong way with it. So we're gonna have to fire it up right around, see what's going on, and yeah, tune that thing up. So we'll bring you guys in for that. And there is Mr. McGrew.
Don't tell me, man, I'm filthy.
Screaming piston speed.
Screaming. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
I still
It's
have
a guy
it,
with that little bike that never really did work that right.
But I still have it. We got to finish it.
Yeah, there we go. All right, folks, I got to show you something that probably a lot of you haven't seen. I haven't ever seen. What do you think that is? That is an auto clutch. Who makes this?
EFM.
EFM. How's it work? Or, well, it doesn't. That's why it's here. It doesn't really work very well.
Got some ball bearings here, kind of like an old recluse, maybe.
Oh yeah, okay. So there's ball bearings. So when it spins, it must something in there must engage. So you can see under normal, just like a recluse, it's normally open clutch, disengaged, and then that thing, there must be something riding on those bearings because these bearings are captured. They can't go anywhere right here. So there must be something inside there that spins out and makes this thicker. I'm gonna make Zach take that off here in just a second, but it still has this on it, which we don't know why that's still there, except for, I guess, so it doesn't leak oil. Take it apart, Zach. Zach, there's something is going in that oil pan, unless that oil pan moves, and I vote for it not moving. What do you guys vote below? Do we move the drain pan or do we not? I think if we move it, things are gonna fall and hit the table and then bounce and be forever lost, or they're gonna fall into the oil, which will capture it, but then Zach will spend a lot of time with his hands in the oil trying to find those tiny little things. I don't really care. Either way, I win because it makes Zach sad and angry. Look how angry, look at that. Tell him to knock that, just wipe that smile off your face. Take it apart, Zach. And like, yeah, that's, the whole thing is moving a lot. Oh yeah. I wonder if that nut in there is loose. Take it apart. Obviously, you guys are going to see this after we've already broken everything on this bike, but we are probably still going to be working on it because it's a pile of crap. But so if you have seen one of these or you know how to fix it, please let us know. Oh, also, I got to show you something. So this bike, he's probably going to watch this video, and I don't even care. They completely jacked this thing up. So they put a left-hand front brake. So hydraulic clutch master cylinder to a front brake and some crazy thing to hold the caliper. I don't know. And then we've got a right-hand rear brake with a cable that sort of works. Anyway, it's an interesting way of doing things. Definitely not what I would choose, but now I'm desperately waiting for Zach to break something. Come on, break it. All right, guys, quick spotlight. Sorry, I already opened these things up. I ordered these WD-40 Degreaser pods. If you guys have seen them, comment below if you've used them. I've never used them. I actually saw this on Donut Media's YouTube channel. If you guys ever watch car YouTube stuff, I highly recommend Donut. They're really good. But it's these little pods, and you put them in. I'm going to try them out because one thing that is always hard to get rid of on a two-stroke is the spooge that drips off of the silencer. So even my fuel-injected bike drips spooge. Some of it gets down on the thing. It doesn't come off with a pressure washer all that easily. So I'm going to try these things. I'm going to do a single pod first, and then you can put two in 32 ounces, but I'm going to try a single. And we'll see if it works on this thing because I need to wash this thing after the race anyway. Hang on, before we do that, let's go look at Zach's EFM clutch project. That's the normal. That's all normal. That's what the Honda comes with. This is the thing. How does that work?
Just like the old, this whole plate presses out.
No, you gotta take it apart. Do I have to? Yes, you have to. Because I gotta figure out what's wrong. So
It's not like this shouldn't be happening.
all right, guys, so Zach got this thing apart, and so one of the things that's been going on is it takes too much RPM to engage, and then let me just show you something that is going through my mind. So if we look at this, let's see, really hard to pick this thing up without things going everywhere. There you go. So this thing needs to spin, and these balls need to roll out ramps to make this thing expand and engage the clutch. But let me show you something. So these balls sit down in like that, and I may be wrong, but it seems like since they tuck out of that, they would need a little more force to come up out, but maybe not. Actually, I'm feeling it. Maybe that doesn't create any more now that I'm holding it, but it also, the machining on the grooves on here isn't perfect, but it does seem to work. I don't know. I just cannot figure out why you would need to have it out like that, but maybe it's an optical illusion. Maybe the fact that that sticks out doesn't really do anything about it. So now that I'm moving it, but this thing is just dumb. I mean, I get what it's trying to do, but it's like an old Z-Start Pro Recluse, which, you know, they worked, but they obviously quit doing it because the new style is way better. I don't know. This seems like not the best idea. And it's also weird because it can only go on a certain way. Like, it has to be a certain lineup. So I don't know, guys. We're going to keep digging into it, see if we can't figure it out. But my thought is that it's probably either buy a bike that will take a real Recluse or put this bike back to a normal motorcycle and learn how to ride it. Interesting stuff. I get it. They're trying to fill a niche because I don't think Recluse builds an auto clutch for this bike, and I guess a fair amount of people might want one, but this one doesn't seem to be working well. So we'll check in if we find anything else and let you guys know what's going on. All right, guys, sorry for all the distractions there. So back to these WD-40 pods. Let's try them out here. So it says you can just take one of these in 32 ounces, which is about what this is. Yeah, it's right. Anyway, it's a quart. So drop one in. And it says for super degreaser, you do 2. In fact, whatever. For testing purposes, we'll do 1 now. See if it gets rid of 2-stroke spooge. And then if it doesn't, we'll try 2. Now we just fill it up with water, and we just shake it up. I think it's dissolved in there. So after reading the directions, it says wait a minute for them to dissolve, and then you gotta shake or stir until it completely dissolves. So we're just gonna keep going. So I was noticing it didn't look like it was doing anything to that, so let's just keep going here. All right, now that I've officially let it do its thing, now we'll put some degreaser on this spooge, see if it's going to dissolve it. This is definitely going to be the big test, and if this doesn't do, we'll put another thing in, because you can do 2, or I guess you can do 3 if you want, but whatever. Also, quick aside on these plugs, I don't always use them. It's kind of nice to keep stuff out of there, but if you don't have one, it's okay if you get a little water in there. Just make sure you start the bike right after you're done washing it and run it to help burn that, or not burn, evaporate the water that got in there. All right, guys, so not any better than just normal stuff yet. I mean, I didn't hit this inside, so this is obviously bad, but you can see got some of it off, but let's add another pod to it and try it. What's happening, guys? Guys, it's the Broads. The Broads! All right, guys, so I did 2 pods in there, sprayed it off. It's not that great. So thumbs down on the WD-40 degreaser. I don't know about thumbs down, but it's definitely not some wonder power stuff. I feel like some of the other stuff I've used with Muck Off and Slick products and other things like that are better. I gotta try some of the F3 cleaner for bikes. I'll have to get a hold of Ben and see if I can't get some of that and try that. But you can see here, it just did fine. I mean, it got the big chunks off, but that's what anything would do, really. So that's done. Yeah, not a big fan, but that's all right. Next is the beta with the Electron Carburetor. So I'm gonna fire that thing up, ride it around, see how it's running, and we'll come back in and talk about it. All right, guys, so I rode the bike. It seems like it's a little lean on the bottom, so I'm going to turn the metering rod righty-tighty or in, which takes it up, which richens the bike up. We're just going to do a half a turn at first, put it back together. Fortunately, on this beta, we're able to get the top off by just spinning the carburetor, be able to slide it out. I've shown this before on how to do it. You just got to make sure you have the right little tool to hold the metering rod so you don't mar it up with a pair of pliers or something like that. And then, well, here, I'll show you real fast. All right, so it's dirty too, so that's not good. I have to look at the air filter. But, so what you want to do is, it's got a flat side. There you go. Focus. Flat side and a round side. The round side always goes towards the air, flat side towards the motor. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this a half a turn in, and then we're going to push. You got to push up on the needle and reorient it, because it's obviously, once we turn it a half a turn, it's going to be facing the wrong way. So we're going to go up, reorient it. There's a plastic thing in here that allows for quarter turns. So we'll do that, get that done. But I gotta say, you guys know I'm not a big fan of Electron or metering rod carbs. They're not my favorite. This one is really bad. The throttle pull feels super stiff, like crazy stiff. So I'm gonna talk to Donnie about this and see if she maybe wants to go back to the keying. I'm gonna hopefully get it running good, because they run fine. It's not that you can't make them run fine, but that's not my problem with them. But the throttle pull is terrible on this thing, and her husband's X-Trainer doesn't have that. It's got the keying on it, and it seems to run and work really good. So I think she got talked into this for the whole don't have to jet it deal, but they live and work and ride up here, so it's not like you have to jet it very much anyway. I think they're from California, but they're here now. So anyway, we'll give this a shot, see if it runs any better. All right, guys, so I rode it. It was okay, definitely better, not totally awesome. I had a couple funky moments of hanging up, so I got the thing off, and we're just going to take it apart, clean it really good, and put it back together. I think there's something either hanging up in the float or something, because it's just not, it's inconsistent in the way it's running. Like, it runs pretty good, and then it doesn't. So I think there's something going on. Either the float's getting stuck closed for every now and then opening back up, or I don't know. So let's take this thing apart and take a look inside. All right, definitely finding some dirt in there. Maybe even a little bug. I'm not sure, but there's definitely something in there. All right, guys, we got the carburetor back on. Everything seems good. Actually, I noticed I can actually see the fuel level better now. You can see that line right there. Before, it seemed like it was all the way full, and maybe that was part of the problem too. So I definitely we got dirt out of there. A lot of things are going in our direction. Let's see what it sounds like. That's good. Comes back down to an idle. So I'm gonna have to go test ride it, because before it would do this sometimes and then sometimes not. But it seems better already, I think. So it's like where it's idling, and I like where, you know, takes throttle well and drops back down pretty well. So Electrons are always kind of lean on the bottom anyway, kind of no matter what you do. But this seems pretty good. So let's go take it for a spin, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I think that solved it. The bike ran great. I was able to putt around real tight in the rocks out front, go wide open down the road. Idle's good, runs good. I think we got it figured out. I think there's some dirt and things. And also, I got that one adjustment done to the metering rod. That made it better too, reaching up down the bottom. So Feels awesome. Happy about that. On to the next job. All right, so we got another Beta X trainer up here to work on. This is the husband of the other one I just worked on. And this one has clutch issues. This one's got a key and carburetor on it. So my guess is, let me see. Oh yeah, that feels way better. But it's got this clake thing. What do they call it? The clake something. Well, anyway, it's made to make it super, super lightweight, and it really is. It really does feel good. This gentleman has a hand wrist injury. Something precludes him from being able to pull a normal clutch very well. So this thing does help a lot. You can see, obviously, it's got a massive lever on it, and with this master cylinder being over here, it makes sense. So it's kind of a cool thing. I like it. You know, one finger deal. Now, you guys know me. I like simple. I don't like to add crazy stuff, but I get it for, you know, if you got a handicap or there's something that just not right with your hands or whatever, I get it. So, but it says it has clutch issues. I'm not sure what those issues are. So let's fire this thing up and see if we can't find something out. Put my foot on the brake, kind of stand on the brake and see what happens. I'm gonna take it for a spin. All right, so I couldn't find anything wrong with the clutch. That clake thing actually worked just fine. Seemed good. The engagement's really short, which is what happens when you increase the lever and make it easier. The engagement is going to be much shorter because it's moving further to move a piston a shorter distance. So, yeah, but it seemed fine to me. I mean, I could ride it just fine. I had no slipping, no grabbing, no nothing. So I'm gonna have to give him a call. But I did notice that it is, yeah, leaking gas. The carb is puking fuel, so probably something hung up in the float. So I'm gonna give him a ring, and then we'll get back to this thing and see what's up. All right, guys. Next on the lift, quote unquote, is a set of forks. These are 4CS forks that we are taking the 4CS stuff out and installing a Del Saggio spring conversion from air forks into. It's kind of an interesting situation. We're trying to, because the 4CSs just suck. So we're going to set these up to be way better than the 4CSs. Still not my favorite setup, but it's better than 4CS because 4CS is just horrid. So we're going to do this right now and get us all swapped over. I'll show you kind of how we do it because it's pretty interesting. We got to do different lugs and all kinds of things. All right, guys, so we got it chocked up in the soft jaws in this notch. Not super tight because you can still crush this tube. But let me back up. I have the right holder over in Zach's World to do this the right way, but I want to show you guys, if you're at your house and you don't have the right clamps for these things, what you can do. So I've got a screwdriver, run through here, button up against the vise, so it's going to stop it. So you don't have to clamp hard here, but it's going to hold. But you do a little bit of force here, and then this will keep it from spinning. And then what we're going to do is heat this up like nobody's business. It's going to get super, super hot. It's aluminum, so it should expand quickly. And then we're going to get a big breaker bar in here, spin it loose, should come right off. I guess let's find out. Oh.
What the heck are you doing?
Putting new.
How do you get those?
They're horrid, and I mean, really the only way to fix them is just throw them away, or do what this guy did, because this guy had a set of a spring conversion for an air fork. And he had taken that out, whatever. The guy's got a lot of bikes, a lot of money. Like, he's just kind of jockeyed some things around. And these forks, he's like, I can't make them work. I hate them. I'm like, yeah, those things don't work ever. Like, you can't do anything to them. I had a set on a 15. Didn't matter what you did valving-wise, they just sucked.
Huh.
And so it's just the parts. It's just the way they're built. Just the design is just terrible. So I was like, he's like, well, I have this spring. Can we get that? I'm like, well, if you can get all the right parts, because you need different lugs, you need this. He's like, all right. So he dug around, and he found all the parts and brought them to me, and we actually change them out more often than you think. Not because of this, though. We change them because people dent them up. And it's nice because you can replace it without having to replace everything.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I mean, that's a simple deal to fix that tube.
Yeah, because this is a lot cheaper than buying the whole thing.
Yeah, they can usually fix like the whole thing. So.
Right.
And that seemed to me like the same idea, but for that much, you know.
All right, guys, let's see if we can slide this thing on here without that going down. All right, we got her. And then all right, guys, sorry, Mike is over there getting recharged up. But we went ahead and revalved this. We're not just putting these forks, this air side. So this is the AER off of an older bike, and we revalved it for off-road, better, but a little more suppleness and plushness. Now we've got the new lug on the bottom of this fork. Now we're going to bleed this chamber, put the base valve in, blah, 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 all the good stuff, put it back together. We're going to have a set of forks that used to be 4CS, absolute piles of crap. Now they will be like AER damped, but with a spring on the right side. So actually, I guess the spring is on the left side. Damping's on the right, like normal AERs. But so no air to check or anything like that. But still just a spring on one side and damping on the other. So anyway, we can take care of this and we'll get on to the next job. All right, guys. So next on the lift, actually, I've been hammering down on a bunch of suspension stuff recently. We've got a customer who that's his rally bike, and he's got another almost identical one that's not all rallied out that he practices on, stuff like that. And we're revalving the suspension. The shocks were stock, so we're doing that. The forks, though, these are forks that he had done by the ride shop down in AZ, and these guys are really good. They're KYB conversions, but they were for different bikes. He keeps switching forks around on bikes because that makes sense because it's expensive to have this stuff done. And he liked them a lot on his other bike, but his other bikes were faster, like more like an FX 450 and some more small style racy bikes. And so he wanted the shocks valve for the kind of rally stuff, and he wanted us to check the forks and see how they were. And so I checked them, and unlike a bunch of other suspension shops, I'm not going to badmouth these guys. I don't know if anybody badmouths the ride shop, but it seems like the suspension world is full of people poo-pooing everybody else, and I am on a mission to not be that guy. Now, obviously, there are some folks out there who act like suspension shops and do terrible work, and they shouldn't be doing it, but honestly, a lot of these guys do really good work, and I took this stuff apart, and they had done a very, very good job. But we are revalving it because they had set them up for a racier application, a little more firm, a little less forgiving in the rocks, and like I said, just for going faster and doing more racy stuff on lighter bikes. These bikes are both heavier, big 4-strokes. I mean, the FX was too, but these are heavier. Obviously, this thing's got a huge tank, rally tower, all that stuff. The other one's got a big tank and a bunch of stuff on it too. So we were just going in and revalving. I called him and said, hey man, this valving looks really good, but it is pretty firm. We can definitely make it a little more plush, but still hold up for big hits and G-outs and things like that you might encounter in a rally. He's like, yeah, go ahead. So that's what we're doing. It's pretty cool. Like I said, these guys did a great job. Ride shop, good job, boys. It's the end of the week, the end of the Shlog. Got my kid's bike in pieces. He's got new plastics and graphics after that win. We're going to get them all shined up and looking good. Guys, if you are new here, look at all these things we have to do. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tune in, hit the little notification bell, ring that thing so you don't miss any of our content. We do a ton of it, almost every day, sometimes not, but it's a lot of stuff. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that what we're doing here is inspiring you guys to work on, but more importantly, get out and ride your dirt bikes!